Imagine the audacity. Nancy Pelosi, the queen of political theater, openly admits that she will have our brave ICE agents thrown in jail for daring to enforce federal law on America's borders. She and her California cronies vowed to unmask and arrest these heroes, spitting in the face of the Constitution's supremacy clause. But karma? It moves fast, and crazy Nancy's desperate power play just turned into her own legal nightmare. Federal supremacy isn't a suggestion, Nancy. It's the law. And speaking of Democrats tasting their own medicine, over in Virginia, Trump's longtime nemesis, Letitia James, she strutted into federal court today, pleaded not guilty to her bank fraud charges. But what happened outside the courthouse really had her rattled. Her so-called rally imploded into pure humiliation. Karma didn't just knock, it kicked the door down. Smash that like button for me if you want to see Tish held accountable for her glaring hypocrisy. If you're new here, welcome, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the latest headlines. Let's dive in. Nancy Pelosi is now upping her game in protecting illegals and the obnoxious agitators protesting ICE. Before we get to that clip, I want to show you what happens when one of these self-righteous young white liberals who thinks they're untouchable finally gets unmasked. These protesters act so tough behind their masks, the same masks, by the way, that they demand ICE take off. Funny how that works. But once their identities are revealed, they fold like cheap lawn chairs. Watch what happens when ICE has had enough of their charades, and watch closely, because you're going to see the tough guy act completely vanish and the panic set in once his identity is revealed.
This person, we've been watching this person. He has been pushing ICE agents and police, and people have been defending him. There's another woman right in front. She was also pushing some of these officers. Whether they know someone who was arrested by police for being undocumented is unclear. Again, we're trying to figure out how many arrests there actually were that were undocumented immigrants as opposed to protesters. At this point, these are protesters who are being arrested.
He tried to fight the mask coming off, but clearly he lost that battle and realized he was the next poster child for F around and find out. Now watch this guy who dumped red paint on an ICE facility in Portland. He quickly went from tough guy to being the scared child trembling in the corner because he knew he just got caught doing something he should have never been doing. These thugs, they're weaker than they want you to believe. And because the left never knows when to quit, they're now threatening to dox every ICE agent they can find. Classy, right? I mean, they won't call out the rioters hurling rocks and tear gas at federal officers, but they'll go after the men and women that are protecting our borders. Priorities, anybody?
We start the process of unmasking the agents. Every single one of those agents, height, weight, hair color, they wear their vests in a particular way. They're wearing insignias. Even the masks that they wear, the shoes that they wear, the cars that they're driving. We have a right to compile that information and put together a profile of each of these agents that's alleged to have committed crime.
Failed Democrat leaders at it again, prioritizing the profiling of police over stopping the murders that are terrorizing innocent Americans in their own cities. Their real goal? Shield illegals while undermining the agents who safeguard our sovereignty. And Governor J.B. Pritzker, he's pushing it even further. He's threatening to jail ICE agents outright.
The commission will collect testimony, hold hearings, and gather information and firsthand accounts. We can do the work so those who break the law are held to account. So this chaos will stop. And so nothing like it ever happens again.
Democrats are working harder to track ICE than they are illegals. Or what about the children Joe Biden lost? Why don't they track and find them? I know the Trump administration has had some success so far, but no Democrat has helped with a single hand in that one. I mean, they care more about the illegal criminals than they do the illegal children that are trafficked into this country. They care more about giving free health care to people who broke our laws than helping American citizens that are struggling under their failed policies. If they really cared about the people they serve, the government would not be shut down, and Democrat-run cities would not look like scenes from a war movie. And now here comes Nancy Pelosi. Never one to miss a bad idea. Now claiming California could arrest federal immigration agents if they violate state law. She even bragged that President Trump couldn't pardon these people because the charges would be state charges. Well, the former speaker and the governor of Illinois, they might want to crack open a copy of the Constitution because it's not complicated. Federal law is supreme. If states start locking up federal agents for doing their jobs, we don't have a United States anymore. We've got 50 little dictatorships. Think about where that leads. Texas arresting IRS agents for collecting taxes. Florida jailing FBI agents for opening investigations they don't like. That's not democracy. That's a massive food fight. And this isn't about compassion or protecting immigrants for the Democrats. It's about power. It's about California trying to crown itself king over federal law. Fortunately, Mamdani, she's not playing along. She's launching an investigation into Pelosi and others for their reckless behavior.
She will be getting a letter from us tomorrow to preserve anything that she's done as well to make sure that she's not violating the law. It appears she is. You cannot disclose the identity of a federal agent, where they live, anything that could harm them. Pritzker, same ballgame with him. And, you know, Pelosi got a letter today from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. So did Brooke Jenkins, that DA in San Francisco. We told them, preserve your emails, preserve everything you have on this topic, because if you are telling people to arrest our ICE officers, our federal agents, you cannot do that. You're impeding an investigation, and we will charge them if they think they have not met me, because we will charge them if they are violating the law.
Nancy Pelosi needs to go retire and enjoy her ice cream collection because she's done enough damage in her years. This latest stunt, it just reeks of desperation to cling to relevance. If she's so eager to target lawbreakers, why ignore Antifa, who are openly recruiting and training new radicals? See what unfolds when an independent journalist sneaks into their camps and gets a behind-the-scenes look. Watch this.
This is where the radical left organizes, recruits, and indoctrinates the next generation of Antifa militants.
So if I take this? Yeah. Thank you.
Generously giving away free propaganda material on how to mobilize for a violent direct action. Selling soccer scarves to fundraise for an Antifa bail fund.
And who's at the top of Antifa's list right now? ICE, of course.
Can I get ICE?
The all-day sessions ended with a panel on organizing against ICE. Representatives from NorCal Resist dressed up as Hamas terrorists in what they're now calling Kafia Bloc, instead of Black Bloc, since they know federal authorities are scrutinizing Antifa more than ever.
We have implemented things to counter their tactics, so we're constantly evolving, forcing them to change.
Remember when Joe Biden said the biggest threat to America was white supremacy? Looks more like it's Antifa. But sure, keep pretending it's the folks that are waving American flags who are the problem here. Once again, Trump was right. Antifa is a domestic terrorist group. But Pritzker, he brushes it off. He's insisting Antifa is merely protecting those who deserve to be here, even if they broke our laws to enter.
The people who work for you and work for other people who are here and law-abiding, doing the right thing, and they want to be good Americans. They want a path towards staying in this country, whether we call it citizenship or just legal residency. We need to give them that path.
A path? How about a line? The way I was raised, line cutters, they go straight to the back of the line. Let's hear from folks who immigrated legally and get their take.
Was your country persecuting you?
No, my country
was persecuting me, and I came here and I became an American citizen. I'm a legal alien.
My country wasn't persecuting me.
How long did that take? For me to become a citizen, I did all the due process, man. Every due process, every paper. Years.
We don't care how long it takes.
Years. And even if it had taken 20 years, you know what? Let me tell you something.
Color.
I've been here 22 years. You know when I became an American? A year ago. Best day of my life after the birth of my kids.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Were you illegal before that day?
No, I was not illegal. I was following the rules. I was under visas. And the moment they said, this is one day over your visa, out. I was out. I was respecting the country that was welcoming me, that was giving me an opportunity and a chance.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Damn, it actually just left my head.
Of course the question slipped away because the argument was already lost. I mean, legal immigrants are the ones most outraged by illegals skipping the process. And shouldn't we prioritize those who honor our laws, cherish our values, and count their blessings for a better life here? Not the infiltrators aiming to reshape our government and tear down the country they supposedly came to join. Now, speaking of those who don't think the rules apply to them, Letitia James, she showed up in court today and boldly pleaded not guilty. But it's not the courtroom drama that's got everybody talking. It's the chaotic scene that unfolded right after. See, she marched straight out to the cameras, fresh off her plea, to unleash another one of her wild, "this isn't about me, it's about us" rants. But she could hardly string a sentence together thanks to the hecklers that were drowning her out. Karma is finally knocking on the door of the woman who flaunted herself in front of every lens, vowing to bring down Donald Trump. Now look who's squirming in their own spotlight, facing her own uncomfortable reckoning.
I want to thank all of you. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for your prayers. I want to thank you for your emails. I want to thank you for your support. It has strengthened my spirit and it has anchored my soul. And so I want to thank you. But this is not about me. This is about all of us. And about a justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge.
Oh no, Tish. It's definitely about you. Bank fraud, false statements. I mean, you can call it revenge all day long, but that doesn't make the charges disappear. And the irony here? She might have skated by unnoticed if she hadn't made it a life mission to destroy Trump. I mean, let that be a lesson. If you're gonna parade around as the moral authority, make sure your own closet doesn't rattle. And midway through her tone-deaf sermon, the hecklers, they got quiet for a bit. Except for one bold voice in the crowd who could not hold back as she claims she's only ever out there to defend the rule of law. The heckler says, that's a lie. Watch this.
And I'm here to say that my work and my job and all that I do, all throughout my public career, I've stood up for the rights of New Yorkers and Americans, and I will not be deterred.
That's a lie.
And I will not be deterred. I will not be distracted. I will do my job each and every day, and that's why I'm headed back to New York, because there's work to be done standing up for the rule of law. God bless you and thank you all, and I appreciate you.
I sure wouldn't want to be on her staff right now. She strikes me as the type to unleash full Katie Porter level fury on her team, lashing out over her own accountability. And as expected, James pleaded not guilty earlier today. Here's what's coming down the pike.
A trial court famous for its speed, the rocket docket of the Eastern District of Virginia. The trial date now for Letitia James has just been set. We received word from our reporters and producers inside the courtroom. It is January 26th. 3 months. That's almost exactly the same as the length to trial for Jim Comey, also in the Eastern District of Virginia. That's a very short time, although this court does tend to take people to criminal felony trials about 7 months. That's the typical or the median length of time. Letitia James, 3 months from now, has a trial date, January 26th. We also understand that trial, it's supposed to last about 5 days. That's usually the amount of time the prosecutors believe that they want to take to present what they call their case in chief, so all the evidence against James. And we'll wait to see exactly what else is going to happen between now and trial, if the defense divulges more of how they're going to try and challenge this case and possibly have it thrown out so that it may never see a trial.
Oh, it's going to be a blockbuster January. Comey at the start, James at the end. And the word for James's case, the DOJ plans to bring 8 to 10 witnesses. Now, we're still in the dark as to who they will be. It's unclear if James herself will take the stand, although prosecutors probably not going to call her, but her defense, they might. So let's see if she pulls a Fannie Willis and buries herself under oath. Her team already maneuvering to sidestep that risk, aiming to get the case dismissed before the trial even begins.
They did tee up a couple of the legal arguments that are going to be made here. James's lawyer, Abby Lowell, said that he does intend to challenge the authority of Lindsay Halligan, the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. She was Trump's hand-picked choice. She was in the courtroom today, did not address the judge, but sat there at the prosecution table. So the judge said once he officially gets that motion, he will transfer it to the judge who is handling James Comey, the former FBI director's challenge of Halligan's authority for his indictment. So it's likely that that will be consolidated, and a hearing in that will take place on November 13th. Then Abby Lowell also said that he anticipates he will file a motion of either a selective prosecution or vindictive prosecution. He said it's the worst kept secret in this whole investigation, that their feeling is that this was retribution. So he said he wants to see what the discovery is in this case, and then he will make that motion. So there's already a hearing date set for that will be in early December. And then Lowell said he does also intend to challenge the specific charges in this this indictment and whether the allegations actually can support those charges. So the judge set a hearing for later in December for that appearance to take place. So there's going to be a lot of activity here between now and the trial date, and it looks like James's team is going to put up a fight and try to knock these charges out before it even gets to the trial.
If it does go to trial, she's facing up to 30 years per count, plus $1 million in fines. That's not exactly pocket change, even for someone who spent her career living off taxpayers. But over on CNN, they're already spinning. They're trying to defend her. And what is their defense? It's not about guilt, but rather the size of the crime.
It's a very small amount of money for what prosecutors would normally charge in a fraud case. You see them sometimes where people are defrauding millions of dollars in their taxes or in mortgages or bank fraud. This is about $18,000 that she would have gotten by having a lower interest rate.
Ah, yes, the small crime defense, always a winner. Newsflash, once you're arguing scale, you've already lost the moral high ground. And speaking of losing ground, Democrats' favorite talking point, the economy, which is slipping away.
The top problem facing the U.S. is economic per Gallup. Last year, look at this, 43% at this time, 43% of Americans said the top problem was economic. Come to this side of the screen. It's just considerably different. We're talking about 24%. We're talking about a drop of nearly 20 points. And more than that, we're talking about across all of the different political groups, right? Democrats, independents, Republicans. We see that the percentage who say the top problem is economic has been falling through the floor. And more than that, you know, we're talking about inflation. The percentage of Americans who say that the top problem is inflation has also been falling, which is, I think, very much surprising given all the news that we are hearing about the economy.
When CNN admits things are improving under Trump, you know the panic button's been hit. And before we dive into what this means for the midterms, because that's obviously important, let's first unpack why the views on the economy are shifting so dramatically. Watch this.
Here's our late but coming out September read on the Consumer Price Index. Headline number up 0.3, 1/10 cooler than both rearview mirror and what we were expecting. And if we look at the stripping out of food and energy known as core, it comes in also a bit less than expected, up 0.2. We were expecting up 0.3. Our last look was up 0.3. Here's the Moneyball numbers. Year over year, 3%. And even though it's less than the 3.1 we were expecting, it's hotter than 2.9. And after all, it's got a 3 handle. And if we look at CPI year over year ex food and energy, it also comes in at 3%. We're also expecting 3.1, but last look was 3.1, so it cooled a bit. So we're seeing interest rates move down and stocks move up.
Translation? Trump's policies work again. The golden age is warming up. And here's how this plays out for Republicans in the midterms.
Let's take a look. The top problem facing the United States is economic. In the average midterm election, it's 35%. It's 35%. Look at where we are now. Again, it's 24%. It is lower. Fewer Americans right now are saying the top problem is economic than historically have said that the top problem is economic. So it's not only that the top problem being economic is lower than we were at this time last year, it is lower than we have historically been despite all the news about how the economy is supposedly softening. So you just look at these numbers and you just go to yourself, wait a minute, there's something going on here with the American public whereby you're getting all this economic news, but yet the percentage of Americans who say the top problem is economic has actually been falling and is lower than it normally is.
Clearly, the economy won't dominate the midterms, or at least it appears that way as of right now. But somebody ought to clue in Hakeem Jeffries, who's as out of touch as ever with what America really wants. Watch him squirm and dodge when pressed on endorsing Mamdani, pivoting to affordability as the big issue. These folks, they make my job so easy. Take a look.
You know what else has passed after November 1st? The election for mayor in New York. Come on. Are you ready? Are you ready to endorse Mamdani yet, Leader Jeffries?
As I've repeatedly said, Joe, I'll have more to say about the mayor's race when I have more to say about the mayor's race.
Today's the day for more. This is part of the future you were talking about last time you were on. This could be the future that you were talking about when you could do it. No.
Well, let me say that, listen, I'm going to continue to lean into the principle as Democrats that we believe in a strong floor and no... Well, listen, affordability, of course, is the top issue for the country.
Why do Democrats so often dodge telling voters where they stand on key issues or candidates? Kamala Harris, she did it with Prop 36 in California during her run. Mamdani did it the other night when he ducked a crucial New York ballot measure. And now Jeffries, he acts like you don't deserve to know if he backs socialism. When will they grasp that this is the evasiveness that got President Trump elected in a landslide? He won because he doesn't dance around questions or poll test his morals. He says what he believes. Democrats, they posture, lecture, and hide. And in doing so, they're not just losing voters, they're losing the country. Up next, Mamdani is left standing on the debate stage, humiliated and exposed after Andrew Cuomo goes off on the socialists. Plus, the Black community is now firing back at Don Lemon after he claims you can't be Black, MAGA, and sincere. Can't make this stuff up. Click on that video you see now on your screen. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week.